Hey, what's happening everyone? I'm SirJames coming at you guys with another video. Hopefully you guys are doing alright. Today I'm here to give you guys my review on the UltraSaber, the Fallen Hilts. So before we get into this, just a small little update like I normally do is for one is this green screen back here will soon be gone whenever I get my shipment from Amazon, since it's in the extended delivery option right now. Is I ordered a gray sheet to replace the green screen, so hopefully that looks good. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. If it doesn't, then green screen might go back up, but we'll just have to kind of wait until then. And secondly, the Sabi compatible Maul Saber that was being worked on, the one based off Star Wars Rebels, there's still some issues with some of the files, which is why I never shared the files in the first place, because again, I'm still kind of testing things out, and so I have to wait for those to be updated yet again. But in the meantime, I do have files sent to me to print out a Sabi compatible Lego lightsaber hilt. So yes, those Lego hilts, there's one that I'll be able to print out that's compatible with the chassis from Sabi's workshop. So I'm hoping it's as good as it looks. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get the pieces printed out this weekend and hopefully have something out by next week. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out UltraSabers, the Fallen lightsaber. And now this, I keep in mind that I got this as a empty hilt because I was going to be using the plug and play kit that I got from Saberforge, which does fit in here. However, and I forgot to take this into consideration because I just wasn't really looking that deep into it, is that the buttons that Saberforge uses doesn't fit in here. And the reason why is because the buttons that UltraSaber uses are much bigger looking compared to Saberforge, where they're much smaller. So when I put the activation switch in here, there's nothing for it to grab onto because the buttons are too small. So unfortunately, that's something that I didn't foresee coming, but you know what? It is what it is. So let me go ahead and give you guys a closer look of the hilts. And I did enable face tracking again, so I apologize with the whole hand in front of the screen there. So this is the front end. And then here is the back, pretty much identical, except you don't have that little box there in the middle. And you got another little hole here, right down here, for your recharge port or auxiliary switch, depending on how you set this up. Because the thing is, a lot of people talk about, or when it comes to these different companies, depending on the company, like Saberforge and UltraSabers, for example, a lot of people talk about, it's best to get them as an empty hilt, and then have someone do a custom install for some of the higher end stuff, like CFX or Profi or whatever the case may be. But everyone has personal opinions and differences, and maybe people just don't want to spend that kind of a high price tag. But when it comes to this hilt right here, they have it on their site for $130, $140 as an empty hilt. And as far as shipping times for this, I did order this at the beginning portions of the month of March. So it was March 7th, if I remember correctly, and I got this in less than a month. So that's not bad for ordering and receiving an empty hilt from that company. So pretty good job. We'll see how Saberforge does, because I did order an empty hilt from them. So we'll see if they're as quick or much longer compared to UltraSabers. Now, if you are getting this with electronics, your shipping time may vary, because when I ordered mine with electronics, it was something I ordered back in January 24th, and I got in the middle portion of March. So that one was a little bit of a waiting period, but you know what? Your results may vary. So as far as the hilt goes, in terms of weights, it's not super heavy. It's not super light. I feel like it's in the middle between light and medium in terms of how it feels in the hands. In fact, you could easily twirl this and spin it, and I don't really feel any issues if this is top heavy and whatnot. It feels evenly balanced throughout, even with all this extra stuff here towards the emitter. As far as how this comes apart, you could actually remove the pommel piece right here, because in the inside, when I received my package, I thought something was broken because I heard something rattling, but there's this piece that was right in there. There you go. Which doesn't connect to anything, and I think this was here. So if you happen to have electronics in here, you can use that as a spacer, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm not 100% certain because it doesn't say anything in the book. It just says if you want more information, you can visit our website type thing. So, and that's just merely for their electronics. That's really about it. The other portion that could come apart is right here towards the emitter. Carefully remove that, just like so. And now you have a total of 3 pieces for your saber. Now that's not the last thing that could come apart, because the other portion that could come apart is that if you wanted to remove the fins right here, there you go. If you remove the middle black piece, which you could easily stick something in here and pop these out because it's being held together with hot glue, is that there's going to be your retention screws that's holding these fins together. So if you wanted to take these apart, maybe to custom paint them, or maybe you want to print out longer fins, because personally looking at this, I feel like this would be a bit cooler if it had longer fins. Now you might be asking, why are these here? I mean, it's not there in the game, so why does it exist in the UltraSabers version? Well, that's because when it comes to UltraSaber, they actually have a few options. For one, when it comes to the actual hilt, it does come in a few colors. The colors, if I remember correctly, is the standard chrome and black. There's the blue. I think there was a yellow and like a red or an orange. But I'll have images up on screen so that way you guys could see the options there. So there's a few different color options for the actual saber itself. And then when it comes to the emitter, they have 2 styles. There is one that's combat ready, specifically this one here. And then they have another one that's a stunt saber, meaning it's not meant for combat, and it doesn't have these black portions here, so meaning it's a clean, smooth finish as you would expect it to look, a little bit more properly. So you do have your options. When I placed my order, I could have sworn I ordered the non-combat version, but I guess apparently that wasn't the case. But oh well, it is what it is. So, I mean, you do have your options. So if you specifically wanted to get a hilt for combat and you're eyeballing this as a piece, then you know what, this might be a good option for you in the end. Because if you get the non-combat portion and you swing and it hits the fins here, you have a chance of breaking them quite easily. Because you know that when it comes to all the sabers, not every single saber is meant to be combat ready. For example, my Star Killer saber, that's not combat ready, because if something were to come and swing and hit where the crystal chamber is, I'm going to have some damage. Things like that. So again, that's what you have. Another thing to mention is in terms of how does it feel in the hand, like gripping this. Does it feel way too big? Does it feel too thin? I hear a lot of jokes where people say that the lightsabers from UltraSabers are really thick and meaty. To be honest, honestly, comparing to, let's say, Sabi's Workshop, those sabers are a little bit more on the thicker side. You could easily tell just by looking at them. And honestly, this is essentially the actual size. Where did I have it? Oh, here we go. Is that the thickness of this saber is the core piece from Sabi's Workshop, and I'm not exaggerating that one bit. But as soon as you add the metal components over this, then this will become the thicker saber. But by default, the thickness of this is the same thickness as this core piece from Sabi's Workshop. So that's not bad. So again, it feels good in the hands. You could easily grip it, twirl it, spin it, do whatever that you want to go ahead and do with the saber. It does come with a cover tech wheel right there, so you can clip it onto your belt. And when you clip it on, it'll be facing like this, so everyone could see the lightsaber in all its glory as it's placed at your side. Another thing to mention is, if we go ahead and remove this, you guys might be kind of curious. Well, in the video game, as soon as you were able to get that second lightsaber, you'll be able to perform combos where you could remove that second saber and then reattach them. So the main question is, does the quick release connector that I got with my UltraSaber purchase from not too long ago, is it compatible with this? Well, the good news, if you do have the quick release connector and you want to kind of replicate it from the video game, it is compatible. So there's the piece there. So if we bring in, here we go. So if we bring in another lightsaber hilt, So as you can see, we have UltraSabers the Fallen, and then we have the heck was this one called again? Dark Sentinel V4, I think that was the name of this one. And then again, fully functional, so I think that's pretty neat. Now, since I don't have electronics, this is going to be probably the best way to showcase the emitter window, is that I'm going to go ahead and basically insert this blade into this hilt. As you can see, it fits all the way. In fact, I now have a heavy saber. Okay, just don't swing this because it's going to fly off. Let me turn off this light here. If we look here towards the emitter, you can see, or if you have a blade inserted, you could see the color of your blade peeking through, which is very nice. And the same thing on the other end too. If you go towards the bottom here, you can see that this is where you would put the activation switch. And then if we flip this around, this is where you have that secondary slot there. So I believe that's for a recharge port, or you can maybe use that for an alternate portion of your auxiliary button, one of those smaller ones. So that's how it would technically look with a saber inside of it. I mean, technically we have a saber inside of it. Turn that back on. So I mean, overall, it's definitely not too bad of a hilt. There is one thing that's really throwing it off for me from me wanting to actually keep this. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think it has to do with the emitter. Just something about the emitter is throwing me off. And again, I'll let you guys look at that once again, try to give you guys a full look here. But you guys can be the judge. Let me know down below. Do you like this? Do you not like it? Again, for me, I just think it's something with the emitter that's not setting right with me personally. And it's to the point where I don't think I'm really going to be keeping this in my collection. You know, because when I buy a lightsaber, the first thing that I look at is specifically the look of the hilt. If it's a look that I'm easily falling in love with, then more than likely eventually it will be added to my collection. But this one, it just, for some reason, it's not setting right with me. And again, I have no other issues with it. I mean, the build quality is nice. It feels good in the hands. It's nice and balanced as far as the rate attribution goes. You got all those nice portions where you can unscrew, edit, change. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just as far as the look of the saber, the emitter portion isn't sitting right with me to the point where I may not be keeping this in my collection, but that doesn't mean this is a bad lightsaber hilt. I know many of you personally like it, maybe have one of your own. But again, I just wanted to be able to share my personal thoughts and opinion and be able to share it with you to provide some more information as well. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. In the next day or two, I am going to be providing another lightsaber review. This time we're going to be taking a look at a hilt and a plug-and-play electronic kit from SaberForge. And so here is the next one that you guys can look forward to. A little bit of a teaser. Actually, in fact, just for the heck of it, a size comparison, because this is a Shoto saber hilt versus the Fallen. And well, let's just say that there's definitely a size difference between these two pieces. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video upload.